has met.
Yeah.
You didn't plan like Grant.
Rookie.
No, it's just that I figured Grant's going to take over the show. I'm not going to have time to
I'm
talk.
not going to take it over. It's Larry's show.
Now, do you guys want me to just leave for an hour and you two can talk?
Even I are good though. We do shows. It's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, do you want to get? I guess we can start any time, right?
Yeah. Go
Let's
for it.
start right now. I might even leave in that first little section. So, hi, fans of high quality entertainment. I am with Grant's Rock Warehaus and
misspelled.
And Schnee.
It is. Well, it's German. Come on. Yeah. I should have put umlauts over the A's.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is, these are two channels that I'm subscribed to. I don't always watch because I don't have enough time in the day. But anytime I do catch either of their channels, as I mentioned on a recent video, I always enjoy it. They seem to know what they're talking about, unlike some channels. I won't mention, I got a list here of the channels. So anyway, first off, Grant, just tell us a little bit about your channel and whatever else you want to talk about.
Well, wow.
You've got 1 minute.
1 minute. In the nutshell, okay, how I came to my channel. This is how it all began.
You saw my videos.
Yeah. You saw my videos.
Well, yeah, I did. You were one of them. I've been like long time. Anyway, yes, you were one, but it's also Sea of Tranquility, Pete Pardo.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I got turned on to him, but I liked what he was doing. And I think primarily what it was the Friday conversations he had with Martin Popoff. That's what drew me in, because those, as far as I'm concerned, that's the best thing on the channel. The banter between Pete and Martin Popoff. All right, so fast forward. I think Martin was on there talking about the Contrarians and how they were going to open it up and you could become a Patreon member. And I thought, well, this is awesome. Cool, So I became a Patreon member. And when I joined and Todd Evans joined, we joined at the same time, blah, blah, blah. They started to open up panel discussions. So if you're a Patreon member, you could what they would do is throw out stuff ideas for topics. They throw it out. You could vote. You could say, hey, I want to talk about XTC on this, whatever this is. And then he put it up for a vote. People would vote. And then you could be on a panel. So one of the first panels I was on, I can't remember what it was, but Martin Popoff was on it. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, what have I done? Because there must have been 8 or 9 people. And I'm going, oh my God. But anyway, fast forward. I kept putting out so many topics that wouldn't get picked up. And I had so much I wanted to talk about that I started my own channel. I thought, what the heck? I was a bit, I don't want to say scared, but I thought, you know what, Grant, just do it.
Yeah.
So I just did it. And now here we go, like a year and a half later.
Yeah. And both of your channels, there's so many, like even I do it, like the Beatles, right? Your typical Beatles, Led Zeppelin. You guys both do different artists that not everybody talks about, like April Wine. I really like that discussion you had about their albums and ranking them. I like that.
Yeah, that final episode really did well where we ranked them at the end.
Yeah.
People tend to like ranking videos. I don't try to do them very often because my whole point, I'll let Steve talk in a minute. My whole point is it's all about conversation with other like-minded people that want to talk music. Yeah. I didn't have any outlet. That's why I joined the Contrarians. Yeah. Well, it worked out. Everything lined, came in alignment. And I just wanted, and everybody needs an outlet and everybody comes together and talks music. It's not like the old days when you'd go to the record store and everybody hung out and talked music. Well, I still do that, but that's just a place to talk about music. And I like to talk about those bands no one talks about. Yeah, I cover some stuff that everybody covers, but you're not going to find the Beatles on my channel, even though the Beatles are my favorite band of all time. But I'm not going to talk Beatles because everybody else does it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly my approach to the things that I do, because you've got people that a lot of us already go to for Beatles information. And, you know, they have all these different angles. And again, like Grant was saying, Beatles is my favorite band of all time. Absolutely, without a doubt. But
I'm liking you guys more and more.
no, but the thing is, I mean, and this is not arrogance, whatever. I've forgotten more than some people know, because Beatles were number one with me, you know, from the age of 2 or 3. Well, it was actually Beatles and the Monkees and Neil Diamond and Glenn Campbell, and then the Osmonds, and then Jackson 5, and then Queen. And then I discovered in February, March of 78, I discovered things like The Jam, The Clash, Undertones, Yachts, XTC, and it just grew from there. So I still was really into the Beatles, but it was all this stuff. And it wasn't just the popular bands. You know, I'm always in search of the lost chord. I'm always in search for something that excites me, whether it's a band.
Are we talking about the Moody Blues in search of the lost chord?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. But you know, I'm always searching. You know, I'm nearly 60 years old, and I'm still searching for music that I missed. And new music. I'm not the kind that poo-poos modern music. I think that there's still a lot of great bands out. But it was that excitement and the fact that, you know, like Grant was saying, you turn on YouTube and I love Sparks, right? What would I bring to the table that Larry hasn't? Larry covers Sparks extremely well. And then there are other, you know, of course, I am probably going to make a Sparks in the 80s video because I love that period from Womp That Sucker to Pulling Rabbits Out of a Hat. That's my favorite period. Yeah. But, you know, Larry covers Sparks, so I'm not going to be a Sparks channel. You know, people like Matt Street.
You don't have my personality, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not Canada from Canada.
Words are hard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But you know, so why don't I talk about bands that people don't really talk about, and talk about what it does for me? You know, in terms of, you know, why I like it. You know, why I like. You know, Grant and I, we've collaborated, and we're going to continue to collaborate on shows. We both. Well, as long as those checks keep coming, Grant, I'm okay with it. And we are definitely on the same wavelength in terms of we love to talk about that stuff that not a lot of people talk about. And, you know, sometimes I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I don't see a lot of people talking about the music. I see people saying, oh, here's a such and such, and it's an OG pressing, or it's a new remaster mastered by this person. Sounds great. And then they put it down and then they go to the next one. It's like, well, talk about the music. What does the music do for you? How does it touch you? What do you like about that artist? Is it the voice? Is it the songwriting? Is it the guitarist? Is it, you know, whatever? And not a lot of people talk about that. And that's what I love to talk about. Now, Grant's had a very, very successful channel. I've been doing this for many, many years. Started off with a show that I did called But Is It Power Pop? And I stopped doing those years ago because power pop it became harder to define with some people. And so I thought, I'm going to branch out. I'm going to do synth pop, and I'm going to do post-punk and new wave and all this stuff. And then it got to the point where you know, I would focus on bands. I came up with my CD Junkie thing where I talk about one band and all their albums. And, but Grant came along a year and a half ago. He's probably doubled my sub rate that I've built in 13 years. And that's great because he's always busy. I mean, he's always out there doing something. With me, sometimes it's difficult to constantly put out stuff because I'm going, gosh, well, should I really do a video about It's Immaterial, you know, band It's Immaterial? And then it takes me a couple days to go, yeah, I'm going to do it because nobody else is. And they're a great band. And I want to share. That's all I want to share. It's just like Grant said, going into a record store and someone going, hey, have you heard this album by Yachts, or have you heard this album by Shoes, or whatever? No, I haven't. And then you talk about it, and then your friends buy it, or you make a mixtape and you give to somebody. That's what I like to do on my YouTube channel, and hope that somebody, it inspires somebody to go out and check out a band that they haven't heard before.
Yeah, that's the best thing about, when I talk about music, or you guys talk about music, and somebody, when I first started talking about music, I didn't think anybody's actually listened to me and go out and listen to it, and they become fans of the band. Yeah. And that really, makes me happy, right? Like,
yeah, and you can connect to people. I mean, that's a really important thing, I think, is there are people out there, maybe some people who don't have friends that they hang around with, and let's say they're big into Split Ends or The Jam or Madness or somebody, and there's nobody in their town or their neighborhood or on Facebook that likes to talk about music, so they look for people to talk about music, to people to talk about those bands that they love. And there are some people out there like us that want to still discover things, and it's still an exciting thing. And I'm going to be discovering music until the day that I die. I'm never going to know everything, and I never am going to act like I know everything, because there's so much more to learn out there. And that's what I love about music, is there's so much that you're never going to touch at all. There's probably my second favorite band of all time. I mean, I have many second favorite bands of all time, but there's a new second favorite band of all time out there waiting for me to discover them.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've turned me on to a lot of things. Aviary.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff, like there's that label out in the UK called Rock Candy, and they put a lot of AOR stuff out. They might put out a lot of metal stuff, but a lot of obscure things. Yeah. And Steve turned me on to this band called Aviary. Their album came out in 1979. They were on Epic, I think, back in the day. I think so. Yeah. They put out one record. Oh my God. That is just a wonderful record.
It's like Sparks meets Sparks meets Cheap Trick meets Supertramp.
Yes, well put.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you go on Discogs and look at it, all you'll find are like white label promo copies. I don't even know if they ever pressed any that made it to the store. They're all
exactly.
What's the name of the band again?
Aviary.
Oh, it's
Aviary.
Brilliant. But Steve has turned me on to a lot of stuff. I mean, he'll say this, I believe him, right? Oh, all right, I'm down, because I trust what he's going to tell me is good. Yeah. I just barely scraped the surface. Steve has such more broader musical knowledge than I do. I'm just some hack on here, just hosting shows. But Mr. Schnee is the real deal.
Dude, no, I'm a hack. That's how I look at myself. No, Larry's the hack.
I'm not a hack.
No, but see, the thing is it's that excitement that Grant has, that I have. It's that thing when you wake up in the morning and like you just got this song in your head and you're going, what the hell is that song? And like after about maybe 3 or 4 minutes, you go, oh, that's Aviary Soaring. Oh. And then you listen to that and you go on YouTube or whatever, and then it starts playing other videos after that, and then all of a sudden you're discovering this other stuff that maybe you didn't hear before. And but I'm a physical media guy, so but I totally believe that like Spotify was great in the beginning, because let's say, Larry, we're talking about Aviary. And I'm not sure. See, not everything is on Spotify. No. I don't know if Aviary is on Spotify. There might be like that demos album that came out or something, but we're talking about it. And then, you can go on Spotify, give that album a listen, and then go, yeah, I'm going to buy that. But I know friends throughout the years, and probably a lot of people out there now they don't want to buy stuff They just go aviary. Okay, I'm going to go listen to that, and then that's all they do is listen to it on. They stream it.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah, but that's I stopped getting upset about that. I used to go record shopping with these guys from high school, right? And then I'll go like, "Oh, have you heard this?" He goes, "Yeah, I listened to that on Spotify yesterday." It's like, oh, that's right. You don't buy things anymore.
It's not the same.
Well, there's something about supporting these artists, and they barely get anything from Spotify. I don't know how much they're getting off of physical media anymore. But
plus, I want the physical, right?
Right.
And I know that Spotify, I understand the musicians complaining they're not getting paid, which is true, right? With something like Spotify. But with Spotify, I bought albums from listening to artists on Spotify. So
you see that, and that I think Spotify serves its purpose very well. It helps you, if you've got a budget of $20 a month, and let's say that's 2 CDs or $25 a month, 2 CDs, and there's 4 things that you want to buy. Spotify's perfect. That helps you hone in on the 2 that you think is the best, or you think are the best. But I mean, look, does a picture, if you're really hungry, does a picture of a hamburger, fill you up? No, it does not. If, I was going to make the comparison of a picture of a girl, but I think that'll go in odd directions.
Can't do that, Steve.
Yeah, I know. But, and that's, to me, physical product is much like looking at a picture of a hamburger when you're hungry. It doesn't satisfy you. To me, because there's worth to owning a piece of physical product, whether it's a CD, vinyl. I don't buy vinyl. I haven't fallen into the vinyl craze. Again, I mean, I spent the first 28, 29 years of my life buying vinyl, and the last 30 something years focused on CDs. I can't afford it. I don't have the room, any of that. And, but there's something about actually owning a piece of product. You have that connection. Even if you own it, listen to it, put it on the shelf, you own it. The fact is you've held it in your hands. With a digital file, if an artist says, "Oh, hey, Steve, I'm going to send you a MP3 download of my new album." Oh, I appreciate that very much, but I'm going to forget about it because I never held it. I'm going to load it into iTunes and forget to listen to it because that's just the way that my brain is wired. I always have to have something to hold in my hand.
Plus, you've got that physical media, which is your backup.
Yes, exactly.
You reformat your hard drive. Yeah, I get CDs. I put in my CD player on my Mac and save them, because I'm not streaming anything. But if something goes down, I still have the physical media as a backup copy. So if something happens, I'm going, oh, well, I lost that. Oh, well, I'll just put it back in. I don't have to worry about it. How many people have you heard that totally sold everything? Sold their CDs,
oh, absolutely.
Never went never bought vinyl or whatever. And they go, oh, well, I had all my music, but I got a virus and well, you have your CDs, right? No.
I had a hard drive crash. About two years ago, maybe. Lost about 100,000 songs, right? But I'm okay with it because I still have the physical copies.
Yeah.
So now, of course, So it's really just a matter of it's going to take time to load all that stuff in, and I don't go and start pulling because I don't know what got lost. I discover it when I'm going, okay, I'm going to do a radio show, because I have a couple of radio shows. I have a Return of the Living 80s radio show. And of course, the most popular thing I do on probably anywhere is this is Ski Lodge. And that's like 60s Sunshine Pop, 70s stuff. So when I say, I'm going to put on Peter, Paul, and Mary or the Turtles, and it's not in my iTunes, I go, okay, I must have lost that in the hard drive crash. So I go grab it, load it in, and there you go. So to me, physical product is a necessity.
Well,
are you guys hearing that plane?
Not really, no.
Okay, good.
I don't know. I hear someone mowing the yard. But the funny, we're talking about this show. I've been into records, buying all this stuff for years. My wife hates it still. That's another story. But it's like all this that I've accumulated, all this worthless knowledge that I've attained over the years, I can now focus it on this show. It's like my channel, I've lived my whole life just to do this, to come to this moment. And it all made sense when I did it. I don't know if any of you two had a similar situation, but it's like, what have I been doing? I should have done this years ago, because I just love it. I just can't get enough of it. It's just, I don't know.
Well, you see, like starting in like 1982, people call me a music journalist, and I use the quotes because I don't call myself a music journalist. I mean, I started writing for I started writing for the school newspaper. Then I started writing for fanzines. I was a co-editor of my own fanzine in the 90s with my friend Jim called Popsided. I wrote for All Music Guide for many years. I've written bios for bands. I've written liner notes for CDs and all that kind of stuff. And all of that was great. And, I had columns and reviews and all that stuff out there. But when I came to the point of like, I like this writing, but can I get my passion out? Can I get that excitement out? And then that's when because my channel started and I was making like silly videos, with my mom, or waking up on Christmas morning and getting the Snoop Dogg doll or whatever, which is real. It is on my channel. I'm not going to point it out. But stuff like that. And all of that led to this being a continuation of that music journalist part of me. And then, I did radio in the 90s for KUCI. I did, and now I have my radio shows on Mixcloud. It's not a radio show. I just call them radio shows, but on Mixcloud, I have shows that I do. And it's just because I love the music so much, and I'm not selling me, and I think that's a lot of what a lot of us do. I don't take myself seriously at all. I don't sit there and go like, oh, people are tuning in because they like me. And, I'm going to coast on that. No, I think it's just the opposite. I'm trying to sell the music. I'm trying to turn people onto this great music because it's filled me with so much joy and passion for so many years. It's lifted me up when I was down. It gave me sunshine when there was rain. All this stuff. It's just a wonderful, wonderful form of entertainment that I think is sort of getting lost today, because now it's just becoming kind of like audio wallpaper, because people don't put a worth on it if they could just go listen to it online for free. People do not have that emotional attachment because they did not invest any time or money. They just clicked a button and it started playing.
Well put. Yeah, it's just there. Oh yeah, I'll just put something on Spotify, whatever. We're having a party. Back in the day, man, I used to make all these cassette tapes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
we're gonna have a party, so I got to make like 4 mixtapes because it's gonna be great. And then I do totally. And I'm doing it now. I'm doing that Saturday listening show. See, I'm a clone of Schnee. That's all I am. But I do my Saturday listening show, and every week I'm putting 2 hours together like I'm having a party back in the 90s.
So how do you?
Absolutely.
What happens with copyright with what you do?
Well, how I do it, because Steve talks over his, I don't. I just get in the chat and we all just chat. This is how I do it. Well, I can't make money on it it's just me because of my passion.
Yeah.
So how I do it, I put everything into iMovie. So I'm superimposed over the video. So I don't just go and pick songs and play them. I pre-record everything. Then what I do is I throw it up on YouTube and let it process it privately. So
it's a video.
Like it's a video. YouTube, checks it, and if it doesn't come back with any dings, I'm good. And I just keep them up for a week. You know, I can't monetize them, but it's just fun to interact with everybody in the chat. And everybody goes, oh my God, Grant, you played Aviary. We have never heard that before. And I've turned so many people onto Aviary, Steve, you wouldn't believe it. They think it's like the heavens opening up. It's that good.
Oh, isn't it amazing? Now you got to get the Brad Love solo album and from 81 or 82. Oh, sorry.
I'm spending enough. You're making me spend enough. But anyway, that's what I'm doing on the weekends for 2 hours. And I just have been doing that, gosh, I don't know, 5 months or 6 months. And I just love it because it's a creative outlet. And Steve knows the same thing. He's working on RC. What would be a nice segue between tracks? You know, you do the same. We do the same damn thing.
Yeah, well, you know, and on my channel, you know, I have a series called CD Junkie, and in the early days, I didn't do this because I was always afraid of the copyright thing. Now, I've never intended to monetize my channel. I totally understand people monetizing channels because
I just do it for the money.
Yeah.
Well,
but you know, the thing is, when I make my CD Junkie videos, now what I do is I go through and I create medleys. So if I talk about 5 albums by a band, you know, a band with 5 albums, then I go and I'll put little 20-second sound bites of maybe 3 songs from each album. And I make like a 3-4 minute medley. So I talk about the albums and I say, okay, here's a medley coming up, you know, and then I let that play while it shows pictures of the album covers. I get copyright claims on those saying that it's allowed to be on YouTube, which is fine. If I get a copyright, you know, if they say, or sometimes it'll say it's blocked in these countries, but 9 times out of 10, those countries are Russia, Iraq, you know, North Korea.
All my fans in Russia.
Yeah, I know. But you know, so it's not going to make a difference to me. But I don't know. I think it's so important to introduce people to music and to try to touch people with music. I'm not a musician. I'm not talented in any way possible. So what I do is I try to use my creativity and I make my This Is Ski Lodge show or my Return of the 80s show. Like Grant was talking about, like if you tune into my This Is Ski Lodge show on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, I play my radio show. I play the previous weekend's radio show. And I don't get a lot of people there, you know, compared to some of the other live streams. I get 50 or so, 40 or 50, which I'm very, very proud of and very, very happy with. But in order not to get dinged and taken off the air, I talk over the music a lot. So people come there because in the chat room it's all positive. There's this just great camaraderie there. And that's what it's all about. It's bringing together just a bunch of people, a community, building a community of people who just want to relax and go somewhere where they're not going to get crapped on by, you know, negative people, you know, and that's the thing. I know it's lame, but I try to push positivity. You know, I don't say, "Hey, let's be positive," you know, and you know, have, you know, smiling suns dance across the screen or whatever.
I like that.
I know. I'm thinking maybe if I buy some software, I'll do that. But I don't want to sit here and like if I don't like an album from a band's catalog, I'm going to let you know. But I'm, you know, maybe in private, I'll talk to you guys and go, yeah, that's a real stinker or whatever. But on screen, I'm going to let you know I don't like it, but I'm not going to have my humorous barbs, you know, to throw at it. You know, because you get that everywhere. You know, why not create a place or create a space where people can go and they know they're not going to be lambasted. You know, and I make fun of, you know, I have people who go on other channels and crap on me, but I can't control that, you know, so stop doing it, Grant.
Well, I can't help it. I'm trying to, you know, build an empire here. So,
but it doesn't matter what anybody that has a channel with, you know, a few subscribers and viewers, you're going to get negativity, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And you just have to learn to deal with it and ignore it, laugh it off, and block them.
Yeah.
You know, if it's really nasty, just block them. Like,
yeah,
they just want attention. Like,
But
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got a lot more subscribers and you reach a larger audience, so you get a lot more than what I get.
yeah. But I also like the way that Larry deals with them too.
Yeah.
Well, he calls them out. I'll give him that.
Well, yeah, and he does it in very humorous ways. And yeah. So, but yeah, doing this is it's just a wonderful outlet. It's like hanging out at your favorite record store and
Exactly.
when you were a kid or a teenager or whatever, and learning. See, that's the thing. A lot of people say, "Oh gosh, everyone talks about the Beatles and Miles Davis and jazz and stuff. I want to hear about something new." And then they come to your channel and they go, "I never heard of this band."
Yeah.
It's like, well, you wanted to hear something new. You come to my channel to hear something new, and you go, "I never." And the big thing, and this happened on Grant's channel. I was on a live stream with. Oh no, I'm not knocking you, Grant. At least not totally.
Not yet.
Yeah, not
You've
yet.
been pretty good so far.
Yeah, I know. When I was on one of his streams, and one of his viewers, and I don't blame the viewers at all, but one of his viewers said, "Hey, what's this guy's channel?" So we said Stephen Schnee. So they went to the channel, and then he comes back like a minute later and says, "But all you do is talk about CDs." I don't
remember that. I remember.
Yeah. I don't want. I don't want to hear about CDs. No, CD is the format I use. CD is right here. Here's Prefab Sprout protest songs. CD is the format that I have, but I talk about the music. Now, of course, I'll say, hey, this has bonus tracks, all that kind of stuff. But you can get those bonus tracks on B-sides. You can get those bonus tracks on an album, reissue. It's not my thing. Yes, I am the CD junkie. I mean, that's what I'm known as. Self-proclaimed, and so now it's kind of stuck. But it's the music that matters. Mm-hmm. Freaking the music is. If I had never gone to CDs, then I'd be the LP junkie. I mean, there's probably already someone out there called the vinyl junkie or something. But it's something you can't describe. It's like falling in love and waking up at Christmas morning all the same time when you hear a great album or a great song or a great chord change. And it could happen, it could happen in aviary, which is known as pomp rock, that genre known as pomp rock. It could happen on a Buzzcocks record. It could happen on a Neil Diamond record. We're talking about making mixtapes. Grant was talking about the parties and stuff like that. I made a mixtape for my old manager one day. This is probably 84. And he goes, "Oh, can you make a mixtape for my pool party?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." He comes back the day after the pool party and he's going, "You a-hole?" I said, "What?" He goes, "I had to jump out of the pool because we're listening to, Madness Our House. And right after that came Tom Jones' Help Yourself. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. So I had to come up and I had to fast forward the boombox to get past that song." And I'm going, to me, it's all the same.
Yeah.
I'll play Sex Pistols right after I play Starland Vocal Band, right after I play Emerson, Lake and Palmer, stuff like that. It doesn't matter. If I like it, I like it. Doesn't matter the genre.
Right. Yeah, you're right. 100%.
So, Grant, I guess
Yes.
you have some albums there,
I do.
and Steve doesn't. That's okay.
No, he failed.
So let us
Fail.
let the
Epic
viewers
fail.
know some of the music you like the most.
right.
Like, that you
Well,
listen
I can share some of my favorite albums of all time. And you may laugh, you may not laugh, you may agree. But
Can I hold my face like this just in case I start laughing? I don't want to make you feel bad.
You won't, because you'll agree with most of the stuff. Matthew
Okay.
Sweet Girlfriend. We did a whole Matthew Sweet series on my channel, and no one really cared, but I care, and I think everybody should be turned on to Matthew Sweet, and I think Matthew Sweet Girlfriend's one of the greatest albums of the 90s.
Oh, cool.
Great record. There's nothing weak about it. This is where the stars lined up. Great record. Always will be one of my favorites.
I know a lot of people who love that record.
Here's another one, The Who Sellout.
Yeah.
This is actually an original Decca still seen.
Oh, wow.
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 But I've got the box set. The big Who
Yes.
Sellout box set. I've
Yeah.
got that.
Mhm.
But I just left it sealed. I don't know where I got it. Probably got it at Used Kids for, I don't know. There was a crap load. Back in the day, this album went straight to the cutout bins. No one
Mhm.
bought this. No one cared about the Who then. But my favorite Who album. Is it a flawed masterpiece? It is, because they lose that whole concept of, playing ads in between songs. You get on side 2 and they kind of lose it. But what's here, though, it is still brilliant. Brilliant.
I just did a video today about 12 singers that aren't the lead singer, but they're still really good, like one of the other members of the band. And I talk about that album because Pete Townsend, right, he's not the lead singer, but I think he sings a really
on
good,
this record.
I love his voice.
Is it Relax?
He sings Relax.
It's like, oh my God, such a nice voice. Like, yeah.
And you don't expect, he had a solo career. So, you see Pete Townsend, he's this, windmill and all that kind of stuff. And then he comes up, people keep repeating, and you're just going, that voice is that. I mean, you remember when Keith Richards, he had this real kind of nasally high voice during the Stones, before They Make Me Run, Happy, things like that. And then he became this, really, Tom Waits kind of guy for his solo career, but he had a very unique voice or singing voice. Go ahead, Grant.
No, you're good. Another band that I always have dug, probably since the early 80s, is one of those bands, and you can't say, how many bands can you count on your one hand that never put out a bad record, who improved over time, that by the time they did their final album, it was like a masterpiece. Or
close. Talking about the Wiggles.
The Wiggles. I'm talking about the Bay City Rollers.
Yeah. Les! Woody!
I have a poster right there. But I think my favorite XTC album is Skylarking. Todd Rundgren's work on this record as a producer and what he was able to accomplish. It's not the best sounding record. None of the Todd Rundgren albums sound very good. He says he's an engineer, but he's self-taught engineer. It's fine. It's all about the music and what is captured. But his work, his arranging on here, this is an absolute classic. And then I like Apple Venus too, I think. And that's like their second to the last album. Absolutely brilliant.
I love English Settlement, my absolute favorite. Produced by Hugh Padgham, the drum sound and just the almost baroque. It was just incredible.
But name me a band. Put it in the comments, people. Give me a band that put out a catalog where there was not one bad record. And people, you've seen shows, XCC, people argue, well, I think Nonsuch is the best record. No, I think Drums and Wires is the best record. No, I think they're all over no one can decide.
You always know when a band is great when you talk to 7 different people and there's 5 different favorite albums, five or 7 different favorite albums.
We did that XTC show on the Contrarians and everybody had a different answer.
It's amazing.
But here's another one, which it's probably, well, I'm just going to hold it up because this is one of the greatest records of all time. And even though when I first heard it in 1988, I listened to it and I went, really? Because my buddy was talking about it, said this is phenomenal. Phenomenal. But as I kept listening to it, I got it. And we're talking Pet Sound. This is the one of the greatest.
Grant.
Now I could put the Beatles, all the Beatle albums up here, okay? But I'm trying to mix it up and just talk about stuff in case all the Beatles are already here. Just it doesn't matter. Yeah. Beatles are another band that improved over time. You can argue that or not. Everybody likes all their eras differently. But
Grant,
this is
I've always really liked that album, right? Mm-hmm. And just in the last month, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, just one night I was listening to that, but it was on Spotify and it was the 50th anniversary.
God, Spotify, here it comes.
Yeah, it was on. No, I've got the CD, but I listened to the newer remix of it, and I finally got it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I loved every single second of Pet Sound, and I now realize what why it's considered one of the greatest albums ever.
Yeah, but it's not one of those records. There are some records you hear instantly and you go,
Yeah.
it's something that you really have to take in
Yeah.
and analyze and bring it into your soul, and then you'll get it.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get it.
Yeah.
But I
Pet
got
Sounds is Pet Sounds is the album with Kokomo, right?
it. It's got Tom Cruise on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But since we're talking Beach Boys, I want to talk about this real quick. Yes, this didn't come out in 1967, but I've got the box set. I should sell this because I don't need this anymore. But this is like the 2 LP set, Beach Boys Smile, that they finally put out. The bootlegs have been out for years. I've got the Sea of Tunes box set, which is a bootleg, which has all the original Brian Wilson mixes. It's not remixed like the Capitol box set is.
Mhm.
But this is brilliant. Now, yeah, it's experimental. It should have came out in 1967. Had this come out prior to Pepper, I think history would have been rewritten, because this is every bit as well. That's pretty strong.
I actually just did a album reaction on my Patreon for Brian Wilson's Smile. What do you think of that one? Because I liked it. I gave it a B+.
That's got the Wonderments as his backing band, pretty much, and other people.
Yeah.
But Steve and I just did a Wonderment show that's going to be premiering, but we dig all that stuff. I thought what the Wonderments did, because I don't think it was so much Brian involved. Brian's up there. Yeah. Brian's up there doing this, playing keyboards and singing. It's like, push me out there and I'll do it.
Yeah.
It was more his band. And that show, I didn't get to go to one of those shows when they were out touring, but I've seen videos. Oh my, how well executed. Absolutely brilliant. But I mean, if you like the Beach Boys, start out with Pet Sounds, but by all means, if you like experimentation, the harmonies on here, is it finished? No. But if you listen to it, it's pretty darn finished, I think.
And it's very, very strange. It's a very strange record, which trust me, I have a lot of strange records in my collection. So that is not a negative comment. It's a very different album. If you want fun,
no.
Or
I Get Around.
Yeah, I Get Around. You're not going to get it on Smile.
No.
That was the album where you go, you know what? I used to wonder if the Beach Boys smoked dope. Now I know.
Well, Brian was doing a lot of stuff then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably still smoking a lot of dope then. I don't know if he was doing anything else. LSD, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at him now, no offense, he kind of looks like he did a lot of LSD.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but brilliant. This stuff is brilliant. And you've always heard about this. I don't want to make this in the Beach Boys show, but since I'm talking Beach Boys now, I'm all worked up. If you follow the Beach Boys community, there's always been this thing that, after Pet Sounds, after Smile, Brian retired. That was the end of Brian. He went up and got in his bed, and that was it. If you listen to any of these bootlegs, these Sea of Tune bootlegs that's got Brian in the studio, he was running the show all the way up till 2020 and all that stuff. He's in there doing what he's doing. Is it as elaborate as what came before? No, but it's brilliant in its own way. So a lot of that Beach Boys stuff, and we do have a Beach Boys. Speaking of the Beach Boys, I do a Beach Boys discussion. We're covering the whole catalog eventually, but I'll be dead before I get to the end. But I love the Beach Boys, but
I'll skip the one that 15 Big Ones, that episode when you talk about that album.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff. You give Mike Love a little bit too much power.
I did,
and that's what you get.
I did a video like 3 or 4 years ago. It was a series called "Does This Album Suck?" and I did it for the Beach Boys' "Summer in Paradise." And
it's horrible. Embarrassment.
Well, is it as embarrassing as Petula Clark's disco version of 10cc's I'm Not in Love? Boy.
I don't know about Petula Clark. Speaking of Petula Clark.
Oh, I love Petula Clark, but come on. The disco version of I'm Not in Love is
these artists have produced stuff. No one could have the career of XTC or the Beatles where everything is top notch. you know.
Or Ray Conniff.
He put out a few albums.
Oh
I'm just
my
trying
God,
to think of other
a
artists.
few a week.
But not everybody had that kind of career, you know.
No, I would say at some points, a band like Split Ends, a band like The Jam.
They never Split Ends never put out a bad record.
I watched footage of Split Ends, is on YouTube, certainly. And I watched them. I think it was I watched a few videos, but it was the earlier version of Split Ends when they would get all dressed up, right?
And geometric hairstyles and everything.
They were a damn good live band too, right? Mm-hmm. And great vocals.
Yep. I saw them live in 80 and 81. That was after that early period. Still a great live band then.
Yeah. I was just thinking maybe REM let's say REM stopped after Bill Berry dropped out. Think about it. They were all those 80s records. They never put out a bad record. I don't know even if that later Warner Brothers stuff, even though I don't think people look at it as a high regard as what came before. Yeah. I don't think really REM ever come on. I don't think they ever put out a bad record.
I would also say the original Doors with Jim Morrison, those
correct.
6 albums,
never put out.
They're all great.
They're all great. They were kind of a little bit, what's the album? Soft Parades.
I love that album. Well, I know some people don't care for it.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. But some people,
and
it's
another
one of those bands.
Another great band.
Another one of those bands that people
until this album.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You could have said that too.
If
they would have stopped after Who Are You? Well, I like Face Dances quite a bit though.
Yeah, I lost interest in them when Keith Moon passed away.
See, that's the thing. It's like, and now you're changing the rules around. XTC was consistent throughout the career. Correct. Split Ends consistent. Beatles consistent. Ringo Starr consistent. Not. But then when you start saying, all of Ringo's albums were consistent, just as long as you start with the Ringo album and end with Goodnight Vienna, just those 2 albums.
What about let's say Paul McCartney and Wings, just to throw it out there.
Paul McCartney and Wings, incredible career, up through Back to the Egg, which is my favorite.
Back to the Egg is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like his
Fist Bump
stuff too.
Fist Bump, Grant, Fist Bump.
There you go. Flaming Pie, I think, is brilliant.
Yeah.
I just got this because there's a guy on eBay that has a slew of these. The Ram box set that's still I haven't even opened it yet.
Yeah.
But he only has like 4 left on eBay. They're like $100.
Wow.
And I've
send me a link.
Okay. But
I mean, I need all those box sets, and I'm just waiting for friggin' London Town and Back to the Egg to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard any. Are those on? Has anybody heard anything about that?
No.
They were talked about 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
I love London Town. Love it.
Oh, so do I.
I love it.
So do I.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. But I don't know. Has Paul McCartney really put out a bad record? I mean, really?
Mm-hmm.
The only one I actually stopped.
Okay.
I stopped listening to him or buying his albums after
Press to Play.
Yeah, no, not Press to Play. The one
before
with say
Pipes of Peace.
Pipes of Pea. Yeah.
Pipes of Pea.
I gave up on him, but I came
Poops
back.
of Pea.
I came back with Memory Almost Full. It's like, oh my God, this is so good. And I became a fan again, and I went back, and I think, except for Pipes of Peace, I really like his albums.
Something that was said earlier, Larry, when you were talking about Beach Boys and Grant, sometimes, and I think this is the connection is a very important part about music, your emotional connection to something. And for me, the last really good Paul McCartney album, in my opinion, was McCartney 2. I think that McCartney's had some great moments throughout his career. And I'm sure that if I went back to reassess things, I'd probably feel different. And I'd probably like albums more. But I lost that emotional connection. and nothing was hitting me emotionally. Same thing with how many times did it take to listen to Pet Sounds before it clicked? Mm-hmm. It's just that you were not in that, it was, I liken it to, putting a square peg through a round hole. It's like there's going to be a moment where, the round hole is going to turn into a square hole, and that music is finally going to sink in. You just have to wait to that moment for it to finally click. You cannot I can get up here and I can praise A Flock of Seagulls' first album, or the Jam sound effects, or Split Enz Waiata, and I can praise these albums. But if you're not ready for them, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way, like, oh, I get it. If you're just not emotionally ready to get into it, you're not. And eventually maybe you might be. But, albums always hit all of us, just different moods, different things going on in our lives. And when the time is right, if an album is going to sink in, it's going to sink in. And if it's not, then it's not.
And one thing I've learned over the years, but I'm sure there's other people, they'll listen to an album, right? And say, I don't like it. Or they won't listen to it again. And that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite albums, it took me a few listens to truly get into and appreciate.
Well, what thing's good about you, Larry, is that at least on your show, from watching your show, is that you'll listen to something, you'll be honest, well, it didn't really hit me, but I'm going to give it a try and see, because obviously people have talked about this record. There is something about it. Throw anything in there, and maybe you don't get it. You do have to give it some time, Yep. You can't just throw this stuff. I don't like it. This is horrible. Well,
there's going to be a time when, for example, I'm going to use. I should have pulled CDs. I don't get to talk about my favorite bands, but Prefab Sprout. Sometimes. Like if I heard Prefab Sprout at a certain time, I may go like, oh, that sounds okay, but it just doesn't hit me. Then I move on. But I will come back to that because it seems like, well, that sounds like the kind of stuff that I listen to normally, or sounds very similar. But then, you throw on is there an Iron Maiden album called Power Slave?
Yeah.
Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
You throw on that. There's no way I'm coming back to that because that's not my wheelhouse. Yeah. Well, I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
But it's,
They cover a lot of Iron Maiden on the Contrarians. I'm not a big Iron Maiden guy. I have some Iron Maiden CDs that I've listened to, and I can hear from what people praise them about. I can hear what they're saying. In that genre, I hear what they're praising. The musicianship, the vocals, Bruce Dickinson, the lyrics, Steve Harris's bass playing. I get it. It might not be my favorite genre of music, but I can appreciate it. And I'm not just going to say, oh, they suck. I might not listen to it very often, but I can listen to an Iron Maiden record and go, okay, not my favorite, but I understand it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's where I'm coming from. It's not going to be, it's not the kind of music I listen to. I can play my Jam, Split Enz, Squeeze
all the time, over and over.
Right. But then, if I play that for my friends, I go, oh yeah. But then I throw on Marillion, like the Misplaced Childhood album, which is friggin' incredible. Absolutely incredible. And people are going to go, what? You like this stuff? Ew. And I'm just going, listen to that. It's everything that I like about music.
Yeah.
It's everything I like about music, but it's just arranged differently. Right. It's got melody. It's got great playing. It's got just tunes, great vocals, great musicianship. Everything that I love about an Andy Williams album and a Buzzcocks album and a Split Enz album. It's Barry Manilow. Well, no, I don't really love. Well, no, I like the song Mandy. Trying to get the feeling again.
Okay, it's enough, Steve.
Weekend in New England. But everything I like about music is in a Marillion album. Everything that I like about music is in a Todd Rundgren album. Everything I like about music is in this. And with an Iron Maiden album, it's got elements that I'm not particularly fond of, particularly loud. I guess, like a lot of the punk stuff I listen to is loud. But, it just has to have the right pieces for me to be attracted to it and know that, okay, I'm going to circle back and listen to this later. Right. Maybe my mind is just not filtering it properly now. But there are bands that I'm not going to go back and listen to, hardcore, punk and hardcore, this and that. I'm not going to go listen to Rage Against the Machine. I've tried. I don't just that smells weird. Ooh, get it out of here. It just doesn't connect with me, right. And it doesn't need to, because there's a lot of people out there who it connects to. And I dig that. I dig when people find joy in stuff. It.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
But I know you didn't ask me, but some of my favorite bands, the Beatles, number one.
Oh, here we go.
Tim Finn is my favorite, or is my second favorite vocalist of all time. Oh, Marsha Crenshaw. Oh, my heart goes pit-a-pat like Felix the Cat there. What an album. Were you even done?
No, you just talk. I'm just going to throw stuff.
Well, you see, you're trying to distract. You're trying to distract from me, which is going to mean that more people are going to like you than like me.
Well, they do.
But that's pretty much.
Look at my numbers.
I know. I get it.
Go ahead, you talk. Go.
No, it's okay.
I don't know how long Larry's going to go, because it's already an hour.
We'll be done in like 10 more minutes.
Because Steve and I can talk for.
I know you guys could. I want to eat all.
We can just go back and forth.
Yeah. Trust me, Grant and I. If you went and ate right now, you'd come back at probably 2.5 hours, and we'd still be talking about aviary and flock of seagulls.
We just take over and we just end the show. Hey, everybody! Thanks. Good night.
Yeah. But no, my favorite stuff is going to be, like I said, the Beatles. The Jam, the Clash, Buzzcocks. The bands that I mentioned to before. But there's a lot of great bands out now. There's Lanny Flowers, Danny Wilkerson from Texas. Some of the greatest pop music you're going to hear. Ian McNabb, who has been around. He was in the Icicle Works. He's been making music for 40 years. Still top of his game. He's got a brand new album coming out. And he does a great version of I Want to Know What Love Is, the Foreigner song, which is, you would never expect him to do that. So many incredible artists that are still out there, still making music. New bands that are coming around, like I mentioned, Lanny Flowers, Danny Wilkerson, the Midnight Callers, the Lemon Sherbets. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. We did that show.
Yeah.
Well, it was Steve's show. We interviewed that band. Well, it's an individual, but God, write that down, Larry. It is right, Steve. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Lemon Sherbets is just fantastic.
Oh my God, fantastic.
If you love Baroque pop, like Monkees mixed with Kinks mixed with Beatles,
the Left Bank, the band The Left Bank.
Yeah, and add. Make it modern. But see, we're discovering bands like that. There was a great scene in the 90s that never really made it over here. Swedish power pop. Bands like Eggplant, This Perfect Day, Beagle. Just some amazing music that never made it over here. During the whole Britpop scene where, everyone was going, is it Oasis or Blur? I'm saying, no, it was My Life Story, which was a great band. Everyone was saying it's Pulp. And I'm going, no, you got to check out this band and that. But I love Dogs Die in Hot Cars. No, but that didn't sell over here probably because of the band. I know.
Who's talking that? You are.
Yeah. But this is, it's so, you feel like, oh my God, I just discovered, this wonderful new music, and you can get, unfortunately and fortunately, you can get all the stuff in the dollar bins, there's so many bands that just never caught on here or anywhere else, and that are just so deserving of our attention and our time. And that's why, Grant, I think, is more well-rounded than I am. He's going to have Helix and April Wine on his thing.
Covering. Well, okay, go ahead. I want to.
No, I'm not.
Well-rounded. Go ahead, Steve. I'm listening.
Yeah, no, I'm not knocking that. He's going to have stuff like that. Whereas I have a show.
We do a different thing though, Steve. I have a lot of guests.
Yeah.
So when we have a discussion. April Wine. At the end of the discussion, we'll go, wow, something will come up. Helix. I don't know. Just throw Helix out there. And we're going, well, I personally hadn't really heard any Helix, but I'm going, well, you guys are awfully excited about it. Why don't we look at it?
Yeah.
I can look at it. Why can't we look at it? No one's talking Helix. Like I said, let's talk about bands no one talks about. Maybe I'll listen to it. I won't dig it.
Yeah.
That's
One
fine.
of you mentioned the Undertones. I love them.
I love the Undertones. Oh my gosh.
So,
Absolutely.
it's just different. Our channels are different.
Well, see, here's something that it really works against my channel is the fact that I do focus on these artists. I mean, I even have interview shows.
Yeah.
I'll bring on, we'll have the guy from the Lemon Sherbets. We'll have Steve Wynn come in. These are bands that appeal to a lot of people, but not necessarily people who get on YouTube and watch videos. So, I just did an interview with the guitar player from the Mighty Lemon Drops, and we're just in the process of editing that. I'm going to set up an interview with Drew from Strange Advance, one of my favorite bands of the 80s.
Canadian band.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a Strange Advance promo poster.
But
I haven't had it dry mount. I haven't framed it up. It's just I have it though.
Send it my way. And a band called Quincy, who got the best deal. No relation to Quincy, the TV show starring Jack Klugman, nor no relation to Quincy Jones, but they had one of the biggest advances, bidding wars. They signed with Sony, and then they were immediately dumped because Quincy Jones sued them for use of the name.
Wow.
And they but we're going to interview them and find out all about that. To me, this is music that has mattered to so many people over the years. And Ian McNabb, I've interviewed him. It's music. It touches people. Sure, you can. Elvis Costello lost Best New Artist to A Taste of Honey. Right. And everybody can name Boogie Oogie Oogie by Taste of Honey. Right. But which artist really had that connection with his audience or with their audience over the years? Which artist is still around and still affecting people? And that's Elvis Costello.
Yep. But you think about that time period. Of course, Taste of Honey's in the discotheques. It's big. It connected with a lot of people. And Elvis.
Absolutely.
Everybody that's coming out of outer space. At that time,
Yeah,
things
exactly.
change. You just never know what's going to happen.
But I think these music award shows, they don't mean anything anymore. Thankfully.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Well, the ratings have went down. Yeah. Every year the ratings goes further and further down. No one cares. It's a Spotify world.
Yeah.
It's background. Who cares, really?
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. The only one they care about is Taylor. What's her last?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I don't think any of that stuff matters. I think what matters is what matters to you. The most important thing in this world right now is what matters to Canadian Studmuffin. To him, the most important thing for Grant is what matters to him. And I think that when a lot of us gather together and we all share commonalities. Look, I may not listen to everything that Larry listens to or that Grant listens to, but there are commonalities in what we listen to and the reasons we listen to it and the reasons we do our videos and stuff. And I don't want to say that, I want to be have more subscribers. But the reason that I actually do deep inside is not because it's an ego thing, because I'm never going to make money on this channel. I know I don't have the charm and good looks of Grant and Larry. But the thing is I might introduce these bands to somebody new and it might change the way that somebody listens to music and it might help that artist. And that's why I do what I do, is because I want people to feel the same way that I do when I put on that album. And I just go, wow, this is amazing. This Ray Conniff album is just stunning. I mean, maybe not Ray Conniff, but
Andy Williams, probably.
Yeah, Andy. Oh God, Andy Williams, my favorite crooner.
I know.
But there's always something to share with people. when it comes to music, whether it's something new or old. And that's why I make my silly videos. That's why I make my silly radio shows. And when I say silly, it's not a derogatory thing. It's just I know that they're not going to change the world. I don't think that I'm so important. I watch video channels, and you can tell that people are thinking like, hey, their opinions matter. It's like, no, to me, this is just what touches me. And I hope it inspires you to maybe give it a listen. If you don't like it, absolutely fine. At least you gave it a shot. Yeah. And I think a lot of this music out there really needs people to give it a shot, people to listen to it.
So any final words, Grant?
Well, I think Mr. Schnee pretty much summed it up.
Yeah, he did all the talking.
He seems to like to talk an awful lot. He says I do, but obviously you can see what I'm dealing with.
Grant, you smell like rotten spam.
Oh gosh.
So the main reason we're doing this is I hope you subscribe to Grant's Rock Warehouse and check out his videos. Yeah. And even this guy down here, Stephen Schnee, and check out his videos. Please subscribe to them. You can even unsubscribe from my channel and subscribe to theirs.
No, don't unsubscribe. I'm just wondering, is this video now going to make me look bad?
Oh, yeah.
Depends on how he edits it. You know how we are in the modern day.
I'm not going to edit it, so you're going to look bad.
Yeah, oh, damn it. I should have shut my mouth.
Yeah. Well, I'll just let you just go.
I know.
So any final words?
No, check out my channel.
Thank you, Larry.
Give me a
No, I was looking for some compliments here.
Oh.
No, I said thank you, Larry.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Larry.
I think I speak for me. Yeah. When I say I appreciate you talking about my channel on your video, and for giving both Grant and I this opportunity to try to outshout each other.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's all fun and games, kids.
Yeah,
we haven't heard each other yet. But I just want to say, check out my channel. There might be something on there that turn you on. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing from day to day, because between this and the Contrarians, I'm busy. So, but check out my channel. Check out the Contrarians. We cover different things, but there's crossover to some degree.
So I've got your both of your YouTube links, but if there's any other links you want, just send them to me on Facebook, and I'll add them in the pinned comment and elsewhere for the video. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Larry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grant.
So much. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Grant, for making me look bad. Or did I do that myself?
You did it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye, guys.